All right, I figured since I've already done a wicked edge video and a stropping video, and this needs an edge, I'd go ahead and do a freehand video for you guys. So I have my fine and extra fine DMT diamond stones out, and this is just a base that I bought that I use. This is my GEC 54 pattern. In burlap micarta, and like I said, it needs an edge, so I'm going to use the DMT diamond, the Spyderco medium and fine double stuff, and then my flex strop. So I have some paper over here, and I'm hoping that I'm going to be in frame and in focus for this video, but I can't really see where I'm shooting, so I'm going to show you. That's pretty much the edge I have right now. So it's not, I guess, it's kind of okay, but it's not sharp. So it needs an edge. I'm gonna start by marking the edge. I usually wouldn't mark the edge. I would just kind of feel the angle, but I'm hoping that maybe that will show you all some of the process on the screen. So hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to run down the bevel here. Once I've gone down the bevel, I'm also going to drop this angle back some, because if you can see here, that Sharpie mark is not too large. There, you can see it's pretty thin. So I want to bring that bevel back some and decrease the angle, so that way I can hopefully have a sharper knife in the end overall. So I'm going to lay the knife down, and I'm going to just go back and forth. Again, this is the fine DMT stone, and I am just trying to maintain the same angle. There's no good way for me to tell you how to just lay it down and automatically hit the right angle. What I would do is I would mark the edge with Sharpie, and as you can see there, the edge was, if it'll focus, the edge did have Sharpie on it, but you can see here, hopefully, that I've removed a lot of that Sharpie, well, most of the Sharpie, and I've also dropped the angle back some, brought the angle back some like I wanted to. So I'm going to continue to do that until I can feel a burr on this side of the knife. And then once I can feel a burr, at that point I'll switch over to the other side. All right, I can feel a bit of a burr, so now I'm going to start on this side. And as I get to the tip, I'm having to kind of roll through on that, so that way I can make sure I hit the edge. One thing that you'll want to watch out for when you're sharpening is you don't want to have the tip of your knife run off of the stone, because if that happens, you'll end up rounding your tip off, and that's no good. Okay, I can see here that I need to work on my angle a little bit. I'm not quite flat enough here, so I'm just going to go back and just focus on this section here primarily. I can kind of tell that the grind seems like it's a little bit off, possibly, because right at this belly here, and I hope you can see that, on this side it's kind of hitting that belly a little bit harder than it is on the other side, and the tip, the bevel's a little bit thinner. However, here on this side you can see it's pretty consistent throughout, and then at the tip it gets a little bit wider. So usually when that happens, if I was sharpening on a guided system, definitely I would say it was the blade grind, but maybe it's me. I don't know. All right, it's not the prettiest bevel I've ever set on a knife, but I'm not going for pretty, I'm going for sharp. So you can see there, this side is pretty consistent, and on this side it's a little bit inconsistent, but I'm going to switch over to the other side of the stone now. So as I said, and I'll try to get this on here, as I said, I was using the fine, and now I'm going to switch over to the extra fine. Feels like there's something on the stone, so I'm gonna rub this stone and take whatever that is off. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's some Sharpie or something like that. All right, that's feeling pretty sharp. I'm going to switch over from my stone now to this right here. So I'm going to cut the video here and jump back in once I've got everything else set up. I'm going to start on the medium side and just work it back and forth the same way I did on the diamond stone. And again, I'm working until I feel a burr. And once I feel that burr, that lets me know I can switch over to the other side. All right, it feels pretty good. So now I'm going to switch over to the other side. I'm using medium pressure as well, not pressing too hard, just for reference. All right, I'm going to work on this back part here a little bit. It doesn't feel like it's quite apexed yet. And I am pressing a little bit harder now that I'm trying to focus on getting this back portion sharpened. That feels better. And that clanking you hear is the sharpening choil hitting the edge of the stone. So you always hear people like the Apostle P talk about the sharpening choil, which is this little, let's see if I can't get this focused, this little notch right here, and that just allows you to get the entire blade sharpened all the way down to the end. So this is looking pretty good. It's starting to pick up a little bit of a polish from the ceramics. I'm going to switch over to the fine on the ceramic. Again, this is the Spyderco double stuff. And I don't count strokes or anything like that. I just kind of run it back and forth, and when I think it's been long enough, I pull it off the stone, I run my hand on the edge, see if I can feel a burr. If I can feel a burr, then I know it's time to go on to the other side. Again, just try to maintain your angle. This is something that you'll improve with practice at doing. I'm by no means an expert. I really, within the past year or so, have just started getting pretty decent edges. Nothing I would call professional, nothing I would, brag about, but edges that are sharp nonetheless and usable. So I'm gonna feel this side of the knife again. Feel a little burr. It's not a whole lot. Let's see. these last few steps before I come off of the stones, I'm really just trying to get the edge apexed and try to knock off as much of that burr as possible, and hopefully the entire burr really. So that feels okay. I'm gonna come over here, and I know that in one of my other videos, I mentioned how I process through the grits, and one of the guys told me that white is the most coarse. I'm not doubting him, but I've always gone black, green, and then white. So I'm going to continue with that. And I know I showed you guys how to find the correct angle here on the strop. I usually just try to feel, you know, the angle. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time going back through how to find the angle. I just find that, again, with time, you kind of can feel if it feels right or it doesn't feel right. I'm using medium pressure, nothing too hard, nothing too soft. All right, I'm gonna check this and see kind of where we're at sharpness wise. So you can tell already. Like I said, this is not scalpel sharp, but you can see clearly this is much sharper than when we started. No catches, no anything. I'm gonna progress through the green and the white now, and then that'll be it. I'll be finished. But that's how I sharpen by hand, and I don't sharpen all my knives by hand. These knives are 1095 steel, and 1095 steel is a little bit softer, so it's a little bit more forgiving, it's a little bit easier, it's a little bit faster. If I was sharpening something like a super steel, quote unquote super steel, it would take me a lot longer to process through the different diamond stones, get to the ceramic, and then finally get to my strop. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Hopefully I shared some information that was helpful to you guys, and you found something that you could use. And if there's something that you saw that you feel like you could share with us, or something that you could share with me specifically to help me improve, I'm always looking to improve, definitely. One other thing that I'll mention, somebody asked me about cleaning my knife between switching sides. I've used this strop in particular for a few years, and I've used other strops for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Unless I physically see compound on the knife's edge itself, I've not found it to be a big issue, so I just continue going on through. So some of you guys may, some of you guys may not. That's just, I guess, each individual. But I've not noticed any kind of an issue, and I will show you guys the edge after this, and you'll see the edge is not only sharp, however, it is also polished. So I think that's pretty much all we're going for, sharp and then possibly polished. And most people, that if they're going to be using a strop, they usually do want somewhat of a polish. They might not want a mirror, but they do want somewhat of a polish. So I've gone through all of my stones. I've gone through all the sides of my strop, and I can feel that this edge is sharp. And I think that, maybe not on this side, but I think you can see that that edge is pretty polished. So we'll do one more test for sharpness. And you can see, going through the strops, really refine that edge even more. Uh-oh. And we're just cutting right on through. Maybe a few more minutes on the strop. It felt like I felt a catch or two, but that is a pretty good edge. Again, thanks for watching. This has been my hand sharpening video. I'll see you in the next one.